In this seesaw of a market, I always like to keep an eye on powerful growth stocks that have shown they can hang in there even when everybody else seems to be panicking. Now, you may not need them right now, but they're absolutely worth falling back down on when the next time Wall Street freaks out like we had the last couple of days, which brings me to Cramer fave Novocure. This is a company that's pioneered a new way to fight some of the most aggressive forms of cancer, like glioblastoma, a real deadly type of brain cancer that you may have heard of. They call their therapy tumor treating fields, okay? And they fine-tune electric fields to specific frequencies where they disrupt cell division in solid tumors. Basically, they make it harder for cancer to spread. Now, since we last spoke to Novocure in February of 2018, when I told you to buy it, the stock has vaulted from $20 to $88 and change. That's a 329% gain. And the numbers keep improving as the company's platform gains more and more mainstream recognition. In the latest quarter, their sales grew at a 41% clip. Plus, they're right on the verge. Well, they just actually had their first profitable quarter. Best of all, Novocure keeps testing their technology on more common types of cancer: non-small cell lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer, liver cancer. I think the stock's got a lot more upside. They are doing well by doing good. Do not take it from me. Let's catch up again with Bill Doyle. He's executive chairman of Novocure. Get a better read on how his company's doing, where it's headed. Mr. Doyle, welcome back to Mad Money.
Mr. Cramer, how are you?
Good to see you, Bill. Congratulations on everything you've done. It really is incredible. This was your first ever quarter of positive operating income. Now, since we've seen each other, the acceptance of what you're doing has grown astronomically. How did you do it?
Well, I think, as you point out, we have a brand new platform technology to treat cancer. So it's not surgery, it's not chemotherapy, it's not radiation. So it's different. And that means that we have to educate doctors, and we have to educate patients, and we have to keep publishing papers. And we've just done that at a steady clip so that our therapy is becoming accepted. We also were designated Category 1 by something called the NCCN. This is the National Comprehensive Cancer Network. This is the group of leading medical schools that essentially determine standards of care. Category 1 is their highest designation. That helped a lot, too.
Well, that must help with reimbursement, which I know is so crucial for any sort of procedure.
Well, of course, to bring a therapy to patients, which at the end of the day is our mission, which is to bring our therapy to as many patients who can benefit. Ultimately, there has to be access. And access means that payers have to reimburse patients after doctors prescribe it. We've done a lot of work in this area, and we're at the point now in the U.S. where virtually every private insurance plan covers our therapy for GBM. And the big step forward, and I have to just underline this because it's very difficult, this past quarter, Medicare agreed to cover the therapy for all the Medicare.
That was 25% of your people?
Correct.
Or Medicare, so that's
correct.
A remarkable thing.
And we had made the decision previously to provide the therapy to all the Medicare beneficiaries, even though we weren't getting paid. That was a real burden on the company, but we thought it was the right thing to do. So we had all the expenses from those patients, which means now that the revenue essentially flows right to the bottom line.
Well, but one of the things the ones you're after are so deadly: mesothelioma, pancreatic, ovarian, liver cancer. You're going after the real hard ones. Is there any reason why you're going after the toughest, the ones that others have failed at?
So again, we're using electric fields, as you said, to disrupt cell division and cause cancer cell death. The interesting thing about this is that we can treat every type of cancer cell that we can essentially get our fields into. That means the solid tumors of the head, the chest, and the abdomen. That happens to be where all the tough cancers are.
Wow. Can this work for anything else other than cancer?
So we're doing a lot of research in other areas, and there are some early indications of other interesting effects. But we have so much on our plate right now with cancer. We're focused on our first indications, which are glioblastoma, as you mentioned. Our new indication last quarter was mesothelioma. This is the one you hear about on TV from asbestos exposure. But thankfully, those are relatively small. Now, we've been able to build a nice business that, as you mentioned, also is cash flow positive now, will be profitable very soon, and is paying for all of our development activities in these other cancers. That's a big difference between what we're doing in most biotechs, where they're doing great work, but they have to raise more money and more money to fund their trials.
No, it's really different. Now, Bill, I came across this from a late friend of mine who lived far longer than anyone thought he could with brain cancer. And you know that we know him, and he's turned me on to this. And it's a blessing that he was able to live as long. But he was carrying around a car battery-sized device. That's no longer the case, right?
Yeah, so the other thing, and this is what being cash flow positive really means practically. Number one, we can accelerate our clinical development in more cancer types, but we're also doing much more engineering on the device itself. So as you mentioned, first of all, it's become much, much smaller. Right. Today it weighs about 2 pounds. The device, the old device weighed about 6 pounds. And even maybe more importantly, the patients, when they receive therapy, have a raise on the skin surrounding the cancer. We published data that shows that the more intensity of the fields, and if you want to think of it like an FM radio, we turn the dial to dial in the station or the tumor, but then depending on how close you are to the station, you get the stronger signal. That's where we get the bigger kill effect. Okay. We can improve our transducer arrays or our antennas, so I think we're going to get even better results in the future, and we're paying for that development with our cash flow.
One last question. There are many people, cancer is a deadly disease, and many of us have lost people to it. There's an entrenched group of people who like to do it the way they've been doing it. Are there people who are resisting simply because it's not the way they were taught?
I think that's true with everything. It's brand new. It came out of left field. This was invented at a technical university in Israel by a physicist, not by a biologist from a big hospital. But anything that's new. I've been involved with the introduction of stents, with ablation therapy for cardiac disease. They all take a while to get to maximum adoption. But we're doing remarkably well, given how unexpected this therapy is.
I remember in the time since you came, because I saw it in action. You have to see it to believe. Yeah. I'm hoping more doctors see it to believe. Thank you so much for everything you've done for the patients and for the shareholders. That's Bill Doyle. He's executive chairman of Novocure. Please look at this story, please, and stick with Cramer. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.